Welcome back, everyone, to week 3 here of the Coalition League's Summer Split. I'm Random Minion Caster, and this is Glacial Academy versus HypE Esports Game 1 here. Now on the blue side, we have Glacial Academy, and this used to be the team Glacial Omen, but they've changed up their roster. Glacial Omen, the bulk of them have moved up into the Demacian League, where they've left King Tyrus behind, previously their ADC, and now he's going to be the top laner here on the blue side for Glacial Academy. Jungler Pereira in the mid lane, Ronin XX32, ADC Mazur lane, and support Bonbar Gankins on the red side here. It's going to be HypE Esports in the top lane, Rings in the jungle, Nonstop Brain. Mid laner Tommy Peppers, the new ADC and part of this revolving door of ADC, is going to be epic, a 3-pick gamer here. Previously of Vengeful Reapers back in the spring split, and the support going to be Fluff Get Smashed. So on the red side for Pendulum, not a lot of changes on their roster. That ADC position still hasn't quite settled yet. They are still trying to figure out who's going to be the ADC there. And on the side of Glacial Academy, the only familiar face here really going to be King Tyrus, but he did play previously ADC. Now he's going to be in the top lane. Will be a little different here for themselves. Now, straight on to the picks and bans here. Glacial Academy going to start their bans with the Amumu, Xerath, Teemo, Varus, Ezreal. And we say this almost every week, but Rinks constantly drawing that Teemo ban is very useful for his team. It's a very unorthodox pick and will draw out extra bans. And he'll be able to pick himself up the Maokai, so we'll still be very happy with that. In terms of HypE's bans, they're going to ban out Set, Jhin, Warwick, Yasuo, and Fizz. Pretty conscious of that mid lane, the Yasuo and Fizz there. Want to make sure that Ronin doesn't get the assassin. And now looking at the picks here for Glacial Academy, King Tyrus going to put himself on the Ornn there. Very safe pick, fits into almost any composition here in that top lane. And we've seen it go head to head against the Maokai quite a few times. So Rinks will be very comfortable into this matchup as well. They're going to pick the Kog'Maw, and that is not a Senna pick there actually. There's an error, so it's a Kog'Maw and a Pyke, not a Senna. So it'll be a Kog'Maw Pyke bot lane for Mazur lane and Bonbar Gankin. It's going to go with the Dr. Mundo and Diana as well. So very different pick here. A very different draft phase for Glacial Academy. Because Dr. Mundo, not a very commonly seen pick, and usually we do see it in the top lane. Now we're going to see it most likely going to be in the jungle for Pereira, and it's going to be the Diana for Ronin in the mid lane almost for sure, because Ronin does play that Diana, the assassin, going to fit him quite well. So very interested to see how that Mundo plays out, and they've got a really tanky front line here for the Kog'Maw. So if Mazur can get going, he can definitely rampage and take over the game here with an Ornn, with a Mundo to frontline for him. On the side of HypE Esports, they're going to pick themselves up that Maokai we mentioned for Rings, one of his most played champions here in Coalition League. Going to go with the Sejuani and Leona as well with the Misfortune. And this is a composition we've seen a lot of out of HypE Esports. Very standard, solid team fight composition coming out of them. The bullet time going to have lots of lockdown to allow it to just rake over the entirety of Glacial Academy. And then Tommy Pepper is going to pick himself up the Ziggs, and we've seen him use this Ziggs before last week against Pendulum Gaming. Did do very well. That did get an epic Dragon Steal as well with that Ziggs bomb. So definitely will be solid for him. So the composition out of HypE Esports really solid here, and I'm liking that composition a lot. The only question is if they will be able to stop Ronin from diving with that Diana, stop Bombar with the Pyke, because if they can stop the bullet time, that will be the bulk of damage for HypE negated there. So I think a lot of it will come down to whether or not they can protect 3-pick gamer on this Misfortune. And speaking of 3-pick gamer as well, he's not really an ADC main, I don't believe. I think he previously played either top lane or mid lane for Vengeful Reapers last split. Misfortune also not one of his most played champions here according to OPGG. So it will be interesting to see if it will be able to survive there. And whether or not they'll get the bullet time off, because even last series there, which we saw earlier this afternoon, Pendulum versus Yordles. Pendulum struggled to get their misfortune to be able to get her bullet time off. So while MF is a very, very solid pick, it does come with its own set of dangers as well. And with that, the teams have loaded onto Summoner's Rift, so we'll get right into it here. We do see pings coming out right away from the side of HypE Esports. It looks like they're already going to start with just a 5-man defense, and both teams going to just start a bit conservatively here. Neither of them have amazing level 1. HypE does actually have quite a bit of CC, but it would mean unorthodox starts, the grasping roots for rings in the top lane rather than the Q, that knockback there, which would make it a much more difficult laning phase here. And in the early game, I am expecting HypE to really be the one to make plays in that bot lane. They've got the Misfortune Leona combination that we see oh so often here, and if they hit level 2, they will be very, very strong. Leona usually able to out trade Pyke in a straight up fight, but naturally Pyke not just going to stand there and give them that straight up fight. He's very slippery support, can get around, can get hooks and engage on his terms as well. So I think once both bot lanes have hit about level 3, it will be very, very back and forth here, with HypE being the aggressors, being the ones looking to start off those aggressive fall-in fights. In the mid lane, though, should be quite the opposite, with Diana being a very aggressive, strong champion. If she can get onto the Ziggs, get onto Tommy Peppers, we might be able to see Ronin dominate the lane, but does have to be careful because Diana is a melee champion. Going into that ranged matchup will be difficult to farm, and in order to win that lane, Diana will have to constantly look for fights rather than a safe trading, safe laning sort of phase there. Right away, already you can see 3-Pick Gamer applying that pressure with the double ups on the shots there, doing a lot of damage onto Mazir lane, and they're looking to try and shove this as fast as they can, see if they can get themselves that level 2 first. And both junglers are near the bot side, but Mundo generally not considered a good jungler here. So, or not a good early game, pardon me, jungler here, so will not be able to assist his lanes. And we do see them hit level 2, but Mazir and Bombard Gankins very wisely backing off there. They don't want to be caught, they don't want to die, will be able to hit level 2 themselves, and so will be able to maintain that. They also do have the wave in front of them nearer their turret, so we'll be able to play a bit more passively here, and that's what Kog'Maw will want to do till he gets at least 1 or 2 items under his belt there. And mid lane, right away, we see Ronin engaging once he hits level 3, has the engage ability in there, but Tommy Peppers, very, very experienced Zig player, very comfortable on that champion, will be able to just put the satchel charge down and hop himself to safety, and will just continue laning. And you can already see he's starting to get a little bit of an advantage for himself, starting to use his skills there to start zoning out Ronin a little bit, get some poke down. And we have the directed cam constantly dragging us to that top lane where Rinks and King Tyrus were going at it, but they're 2 fat tanks and there's no possibility of a kill anytime soon. So the 2 of those tanks just gonna go at it, look to scale up, and Ornn does have the brittle damage, percent health damage, but so does Maokai, and Maokai has a lot of sustain as well, so we'll be more than comfortable just extending this laning phase, healing things up in that top lane. Ronin going in once again, satchel charge disengage, and that's going to be the pattern in the mid lane over and over and over again as long as they have mana. But Ziggs will burn his mana up a bit faster, so does have to be careful of constantly using that satchel charge there. And surprisingly, Perrier going into the jungle, invading onto HypE Esports side there, stealing away the Raptors, and now looking at the Golems. Nonstop Brain does notice it, pings it out, and he's going to run straight to his Golems here, see if he can do anything. But top lane, Rinks and King Tyrus are going at it, and Perrier might be able to get a gank off potentially, but no, he's just going to try and disengage it. He doesn't want any part of this. Saw Nonstop Brain coming out, so will not want to fight that quite yet. And down in the bot lane, Fluff gets smashed, getting the Zenith Blade onto Bombard Gankins. The Ignite goes down. Will it be enough? No, it won't. The healing coming up from Bombard going into the invisible submerged state here, will be able to get himself out, but it is a close run thing. And you can see as soon as the Leona MF combination can go in, they can get a ton of damage down. And that's with Mazir and Bombard being a level up in that fight as well. The level up coming down halfway through that trade. They still end up losing a little bit. So really, really risky bot lane there. They have to be really careful till Mazir can get some items there and skill up a little bit. And really, both these teams do not have to win right away in the early game. Both of them have really, really strong mid games. But should the game scale to the late game, Glacial Academy going to have a very, very powerful late game composition here. Will have the Ornn items, the upgrades there. Mundo late game tank can be absolutely massive. And to deal with that Mundo, I am expecting HypE to build some healing cut items, but in the bot lane, there we go. That's the hook from Bombard. He's got the engage on his terms, and they're going to get first blood down onto Mazir. Mid lane as well. Roden turning on the pressure. Will be able to pick him up. Now, non-stop Rain has to be careful because Pereira found in the jungle. And Glacial Academy popping off here. Kills across 2 lanes and the jungle. 3 separate fights, 3 separate kills. And suddenly they are 3-0 at 6 minutes. Absolutely massive for Glacial Academy, and I was saying that, you know, they're the team who might want to actually sit back, skill up, let Pereira become that super tank, let Ornn get his items, let Mazir hit his 2 item spike there on the Cogmol, but they feel like they don't need it and they just engage right away. A beautiful hook from Bombard Gankins to get them started. And if anybody is going to make moves in the early game, it's going to be that Pyke. Will be able to get a lot of damage off, especially once he gets his execute at level 6. But now in the bot lane, Pereira has to be careful. He is 6, going to use the Mundo heal. They don't have the ignite on him. He does eventually go down though, but took a while, and it looks like Mazir gonna join him there. A good rotation from Tommy Peppers as well. Pereira just a little too low, sticking around a little too long. Will give back 2 kills, closing the gold gap a little bit there. And yes, Mundo is tanky. Yes, healing cut is the counter to him, but at level 6 with his sadism, just not enough heal in the early levels. Does take time as well, so you can potentially burst him out. And on top of that, the other thing to note as well, the double Duran's Blade coming out of 3-pick Gamer. That's one of the things that MF can do. Out of all the ADCs, she's one of the ones who benefits most from just stacking that Duran's Blade. We've seen it in professional play a lot as well. Triple Duran's Blade was a valid build on her, and she will be very, very strong in these early games. Will be able to bully out Mazir and Bombard as well. This will also help protect against some of those hooks coming out from Bombard. Even if the ADC gets hooked, even if Misfortune gets engaged upon, she has enough health that she should be able to survive and might be able to turn the tides there with Fluff get smashed. Now mid lane, satchel charge going off, but this time Ronin's on the right side of it. And look at the damage he's popping out. Almost taking Tommy Peppers down. Did not have the ignite available for this fight, or Tommy would be dead. But Tommy does have to be careful still. Diana can just re-engage there, and that'd be a kill for Ronin. About 6 seconds left on that cooldown for Ronin. Tommy gonna stay really far under turret, just using those bombs to farm from afar there. Pereira gonna be the proactive jungler here, starting up the Herald right away, and that's gonna be Herald going to Glacial Academy. They've got the pedal to the metal right now, and they don't want to let up. They want to make sure they continue applying the pressure for themselves, and this is a really solid decision by them, because on the side of HypE Esports, once the mid game comes round with that Nature's Advance from Maokai, with the Sejuani's Glacial Prison, and the Solar Flare there coming up from Fluff Get Smashed, they'll have a ton of AoE teamfight ability in the mid game. Huge spike there. So if the side of Glacial Academy can make sure that they're the ones that hit come the mid game, then really HypE is going to be on the back foot and have a really difficult time finding any traction, any way of getting agency and priority in the game here. And the next focus most likely gonna be this Cloud Drake here. It has been up for quite a while right now. Neither team really focusing on the Drake, but right now it looks like HypE Esports sort of stacking down that bot side. They do have the vision advantage, just a pink ward here near the entrance might have spotted non-stop right now, but other than that, they don't really have vision. They are going to now just drop a ward into the Cloud Drake because they noticed that 3-Pick Gamer and Fluff were missing for quite a while in that bot lane. But Ronin now potentially getting caught here. The bombs come down, but the slow doesn't quite apply, and Ronin will be able to disengage safely. Going to take a bit of damage here, so HypE going to have the inside track, going to have a little bit of an advantage here, starting up the Drake, and we'll have to see the teleport coming down from King Tyrus. It's going to be matched by Rings, but the flash from Bombard, they catch nonstop Brain and they instantly nuke him down. Now both time coming across will find Rings. The Oran Horn being sounded, but they don't. Oran's already dead, pardon me, it wasn't Rings, so it's King Tyrus going down there. Beautiful moonfall from Ronin to find 3-Pick, but he's going to trade his life over for it. And now Bombard trying to pick up anything will not find it. Ring's going to be able to pick that one up, and it's going to be a 4-for-1 here in favor of HypE. Well played from them. This is the strength of that mid-game composition. They're all level 6, all of their ultimates. That bullet time just absolutely ripped King Tyrus apart. The Ornhorn sounded, but he couldn't even get the second half off just from the sheer damage. Now Perrier going for that jungle steal because Nonstop has not arrived, but he will not be able to survive that. Did not have sadism up that time. Was a little too squishy. Didn't have vision either proper. They did manage to drag the dragon out, so he was just taking a risk trying to steal that there, and will end up giving a delayed ace over the way of HypE Esports. And suddenly, HypE Esports pulling the game back to even after a rough laning phase there. And despite the ace going over the way of HypE Esports, you have to give props to Glacial Academy. They saw and tried to contest it. They were ahead at that point in time in gold, in items, and they saw their shot and decided to take it. It will cost them now into the mid game, but again, with their composition, they can afford to sit back and scale into the late game. So despite this, gonna put a break in their plans for now. It will not necessarily mean the end of the game for them. They can just take it slow, go back to the laning phase, look for ganks again. And they were doing really well in the laning phase as well for the most part, especially in that bot lane. So will not be an issue for them to go back to that. That being said, on the side of HypE Esports, Rings is already 1-0-1-4, and we've seen what happened when Rings gets a hit. He can be an absolute monster, and it looks like Piri are going to drop the Herald into the mid lane, going to look to try and get damage, and they've already got it down to one plate. The Ziggs ultimate going to come across, try and clear the minions out, but it will not be enough to stop the Herald, and now Nonstop from behind, going to put the Glacial Prison down. A good flash from Piri, and they don't have any healing cut. Flash from Ronin as well to dodge the Solar Flare and the roam up from Fluff, and they're going to get out after getting the first turret of the game, and that's going to be the mid turret too, so the map's going to open up big here for the side of Glacial Academy. The Bombard has to be careful. Pyke very slippery, will be able to just dash himself to safety there. And after all that action, the side of HypE Esports comes a little too late to save that mid turret, and everything going to reset a little bit here. And one thing to be careful for Tommy Peppers, he's now going to be in that long lane, and Diana more than happy to chase him down the long lane. Has the gap closers, has the mobility as well, and we now do see Ronin picking up the Dark Seal for himself. Now top lane, Period getting the gank in, Rings getting absolutely burst out, the Brittle doing work. The percentile damage from both Mundo and Ornn there, just shredding him down. Will be able to pick themselves up a quick kill in that top lane, shutting down the tree before he gets rolling. And they do need to do that because we've seen what happens in late games with Rings on the Maokai. He becomes nigh unkillable on that tree. So you want to make sure he stays down for as long as he can. Good gank there, and they should be able to get quite a bit of damage here on this top turret. I believe King Tyrus running the demolish there, so we'll be able to get an easy plate for himself. And on the side of HypE Esports, they're going to switch their lanes up. They're going to send 3-Pick Gamer and Fluff get smashed to that top lane, look to try and get some pressure. And now Piri has to be careful. Nonstop Brains coming after him. Has the Glacial Prison available? Will he use it? Yes, he will. And the Sadism not quite up yet, but unfortunately Fluff and 3-Pick not quite in position to follow up. The Solar Flare comes down, but it's not gonna do much as it does catch Period, but it'll be under turret, and they won't want to follow up with that. And now Rings in the bot lane has to be careful. He's going to be in a 1v2 situation as well against Mazir and Bombard, but Kog'Maw at level 6 does have that living artillery and can just keep firing from range, poking Rings down. So it'll be a much tougher 1v2 4 rings than King Tyrus in the top lane here. Now Herald being started up here by Non-Stop Brain. He does have to be careful though, is getting low, and Pyria is in the area. Does have sadism available this time, but Pyria getting collapsed on bullet time, doing a ton of damage, just shredding his health down. Pyria gonna go down once again, and it's gonna be Herald going the way of HypE Esports. So HypE Esports will be able to hopefully get their first start of the game as well to balance things out. And it's really well played from HypE Esports right now. They're firing back every time Glacial Academy makes a move. HypE Esports looks to try and match it in some way, and I love the proactivity coming out from both of these teams right now. Bombard has to be careful, will land the hook, but that's onto Fluff, and Fluff doesn't mind getting hooked. That's an engage if he can get close enough. 3-pick gamer though gonna back off. They just want to get some vision around the Dragon Pit, as Inferno going to be the next dragon up. Will be coming up in about 30 seconds here. And both teams more than happy to pick themselves up the Drake here. If they can get it, extra damage will help a lot for HypE Esports. They are lacking a little bit in the damage department, only having the 2 carries there with Tommy Peppers and 3-pick gamers. So if they can increase the damage, that'd be great. And on the side of Glacial Academy here, with the 2 assassins, with the Pike, with the Diana, having just that little bit of damage that 3% can mean a world of difference in between getting a kill and not getting a kill there. And it's going to be HypE Esports, the first ones there. Going to start it up right away. And Ronin in that mid lane right now, having to deal with the Herald that HypE dropped down. And now Pyria once more getting caught. All the CC being blown on him. The bullet time comes across. Not enough, but the flash from 3-pick to pick up the kill. And now Fluff deep in the enemy lines will go down. Moonfall coming out from Ronin as he's finally approached from the flank. And he's going to catch all 4. That's going to be an ace for the side of Glacial Academy. Great play from them. They lose the dragon, but they pick up an ace for themselves here. And Bombard gonna be the beneficiary of a triple kill for himself, and that's gonna be bad news for 3-pick gamer and Fluff if they have to lane against Bombard, because with that many kills, he's really far ahead in terms of gold compared to Fluff. 7,000 gold, actually the richest on his team right now. Once he picks up a couple more items, spends that 3,000 he has in pocket, it's going to be absolutely huge. And with that, Glacial Academy going to pick up the inner mid turret as well. They're really focusing that mid lane down. They want to open up the map as much as possible. And with the way the map is split right now, it's going to be very difficult for HypE Esports to defend their outer turrets here in the top and mid lane. They're going to have to spend a lot of wards defensively here, and that means they might have difficulty protecting the Baron, protecting the Dragon, getting the vision down on those parts of the map. If you look right now, you can see a lot of focus on the side of Glacial Academy on the Dragon Pit where they just fought at. So they had tons of vision in that area. On the other hand, HypE much more even distribution across the map for now. Still had quite a few pink wards in the river area, and right now looking to position aggressively as they're pushing down the mid lane there. But it's going to be a bit of a hard push here because Ronin able to just clear it out really well. Pyria coming in, the Moonfall onto 3-pick, and the burst coming out from Ronin, 100-0 in one combination. Fluff not able to help him at all there. Held the Solar Flare, I think, a little bit too long. And the Glacial Prison as well, going to come out of Non-Stop Brain, but it's too little too late there to save 3-pick, and that's gonna be a lot of summoners, a lot of ultimates, pardon me, blown on the side of HypE Esports. They'll have to be careful, will not want to fight till those ultimates come back off cooldown again. At least they have a Cloud Drake, so that cooldown will not be as bad as it otherwise might have been. 10% at level 1, at level 2 ranked ultimates is massive for themselves. Here we see the outer turrets under siege from Glacial Academy, but it's going to be a 3v3 as Fluff and Smash and Non-Stop Brain show up. It's 3 tanks though, they don't have any damage, so if this fight were to go out, it might be difficult for them. Ornhorn being sound in the bot lane, looking to get Tommy Peppers, but it will not land, and they're not going to be able to get this gank off here. Instead, it's going to be King Tyroos taking a lot of damage. Part of that just from the turret. He's walking up to that turret, but not quite tanky enough yet. He built the Abyssal first, which is a standard thing here. And now Bullet Time going to be used preemptively by 3-Pick Gamer to zone them out to get some poke onto Mazir lane here. And they're going to be the ones looking to push that top lane, but they've forgotten Pyria. And Pyria going to just push in the mid lane here, getting some damage, not a ton. He doesn't have Demolish as a mastery, it looks like, and now he's going to be stuck in an awkward position. Going to look to base, and he might be able to get away with this because Tommy Pepper's not going to check the bush, but the damage coming out of him there. Doesn't have Grasp of the Undying, but the Conqueror seems to be working real well from him. Solar Flare comes across, doesn't get the stun. They do, however, get the slow, and the execution is calling from 3-Pick Gamer, doing work, just making that sadism a lot less useful, and he will get collapsed on, will go down to 3-Pick Gamer in that fight there. Despite the kills though, Glacial Academy just jerking HypE Esports all around the map here. As they play the macro game, they get that top lane turret. They're forcing HypE to rotate to respond to all these pushes, but the problem is every time they go for that, they have to give an objective up, and a lot of that's coming down to that mid lane being so exposed, so pushed up here. It allows Pyria to just shove in the wave all the way to the inhibitor turret, and that's a long walk from the outer turret on a side lane to the inhibitor of your mid lane, and that allows them to quickly pick up turrets. The bot lane turret also did go down a while back as well, and suddenly Glacial Academy up 4 turrets, up almost 7,000 gold here, and that's almost solely off turrets and CS there, just out rotating the side of HypE Esports. Mazir gonna hit his 2-item spike real soon here. Already has the Blade of the Ruined King completed. The components for that Gwynsu being built as well will be absolutely massive for him once he can pick that up, and once he can safely fire from the back. Has been able to stay fairly safe in most of these fights, and Ronin on the Diana has been doing absolute work for his team. Getting those 4 5-man moonfalls have been critical, and the damage he puts out is amazing, instantly bursting down Tommy Peppers and 3-Pick Gamer in some of these fights here. And now that the Ocean Drake is up, both teams looking to contest for it. Once again, HypE Esports is going to be the team to start this one up here. Do have to be careful though. The Oran Horn being sounded. Bullet Time going to rake across. Going to be interrupted, but that was still a decent chunk of it. And now Ronin gets another 3-man moonfall. Doesn't get the second proc of it, but it's good enough. Did get them all bunched up, and that's going to be epic. Non-stop and Fluff going down immediately. Ring soon to follow on. It's only Tommy Peppers left alive, but he's alone, stuck with a Mundo and a Cosmo. Will get busted down as well. It looked like a good start from HypE Esports. That was good positioning from 3-Pick Gamer to get the Bullet Time off on the side, and by the time the Oran Horn went across, a lot of damage was already done, and that's why we saw Ronin go down so quickly. Bombar as well, not able to get the executes off, really just melting before he could get into the fight proper, and King Tyroos eating almost the entirety of that, did get shredded down. But that's the thing with Diana. Even if she doesn't get the second half of the moonfall off, just the first half, and the damage she can put down right away just melts people. We saw something similar last week, or was it last night actually, with Just Storming on Kane, just going in like a missile. One way, either you go in and kill someone or you die, and Ronin's fulfilled a much more similar role here, except in team fights with AoE damage and just popping people immediately. They have to stop Ronin. They have to burn some CC onto Ronin right away, but right now looking like it's a little difficult to get that on, and if they can't do that, it's going to be 3-Pick Gamer or Tommy Peppers dead right away, and that'll be half the damage output of HypE Esports taken off the fight before the fight really gets started here. This does not bode well for the side of HypE Esports. We are in the mid game right now. This is where their composition really shines. They do have the lethality build coming out of 3-Pick Gamer, and there we go, the moonfall once again. The flash this time will keep 3-Pick Gamer alive for now, but Bombard diving the backline will get the execute, and the reset will get Fluff as well, and now it's going to be Rinks, but Rinks real tanky. I'm not sure they're going to be able to execute on him. Instead, still, that's the bot lane of HypE Esports going down right away. And it's a 2-for-0 here. Ronin able to just engage in there so hard, get the damage down and force everything out of 3-pick Gamer, and that's going to be a flash down for the next fight. 3-pick not going to have a flash available, and looking at the way kills and fights are breaking out, it's highly unlikely that it will be 5 minutes before the next fight breaks out. So on the side of HypE Esports, they're going to have to position really carefully, and Glacial Academy not going to waste any time, rotating straight to the Baron there. They have the top jungle warded, will be able to see if HypE Esports approaches. HypE Esports, no vision whatsoever. Most of their wards here have expired, and so they won't even realize that Glacial Academy taking the Baron right now, and it's burning down really quick. Going to be taken down by Mazir Lane. A bit of a missmite from Period, but it doesn't even matter because there was no contest. And we do see that 2-item spike coming out from Mazir Lane now. It's looking real rough for HypE Esports for the rest of this game right here. And really, they have the issue too of who's going to go onto that backline, who's going to stop Mazir Lane from putting all that damage out. They don't have an assassin on the side of HypE Esports. This is a traditional straight team fight composition. And yes, Rinks can get to the backline. Yes, Fluff can get onto the backline, but if they do that, Ronin's going to just be able to run amok on Tommy Pepper and 3-pick Gamer. So they're in a bit of a pickle here, trying to decide how they're going to have to play this out. A lot their AoE CC might have to be used simply trying to stop the engage coming out of Ronin here. And Period too can just run into the midst of the entire enemy team. If you leave him unattended, Amundo can do a lot of damage. Does have the Spirit Visage, does have the Thornmail picked up as well. And looking like he's going to start building a health item. And now Gankins getting caught out here. Looked like he was the one looking to try and find someone. He will be able to sneak up, but at what cost? Because it's going to be Ronin, but the damage from Ronin, he just 100-0 3-pick in a 1v4. The Zonius to buy time for his team. That's a double kill as his cooldowns come off, and they suddenly managed to turn this fight. Ronin is a monster. Only Rinks left alive. Gonna get shredded down by Mazir Lane here. Double kill to Ronin, double kill to Mazir Lane. Starting looking like Bombard Gankins got caught out trying to look for a catch, but he manages to sneak out, and Ronin in a 1v4 sneaking back out with a double kill. The man is a monster. 10 stacks on that Dark Seal. He has the Conqueror, able to heal so much damage here. And Mazir Lane, once he comes in, Rinks is not going to be tanky enough to survive that. Non-stop brain will not survive either. The shred coming out from that upgraded Blade of the Ruined King, the Might of the Ruined King now for Mazir Lane, and this might just be the end of the game here for HypE Esports, as Glacial Academy do have the Baron buff. They will be able to win any fight they so choose to pick right now, but looks like they're just gonna back off here, go and try and pick themselves up the Ocean Drake, and this will be their second Drake of the game. Not super useful at this point in the game, because the fights right now are not poke fights. These are full-on team fights, and somebody's going to die at the end of it. But on Amundo with the Spirit Visage on King Tyrus, it does heal them quite a bit. If they can get the soul, it will definitely be massive for them. So we'll have to see if they do end up going that long. I really don't think the game will, given the way Glacial Academy has been playing thus far with the advantages they've managed to find themselves at this point. And looking at the gold lead, it's really ballooned a bit out of control here. It's 15k in a 28 minute game. That's absolutely massive, and a lot of that sitting in the mid lane, sitting in the jungle. Pereira doing amazingly for himself, as has Ronin in the ADC position as well. Mazir able to find himself a lead from a lot of these team fights. Lead compounded with the upgraded items from King Tyrus, from the Ornn there. It's absolutely disgusting. And I don't think HypE has an answer to Ronin right now. If Ronin manages to access that backline, they really have no way to peel him out. And just the sheer burst there with the Luden's Echo, with the Zonius, with a 10 stack Dark Seal, just able to pop people right away. And the Zonius will buy enough time for Pire and King Tyrus to show up. And once they show up, all of a sudden, it's going to be super difficult to focus down Ronin. And should anybody survive the initial burst, there's always Bombard Gankins to clean up in the back as well. Bombard Gankins incredibly hit, almost double the gold here of Fluff gets smashed, and that's somewhat to be expected. That is a Pyke, a bit of a carry support, and that was how he's designed, but it's still an a huge, massive lead for him, and that's what happens when you let a PyHype get snowballing here in a game. And looking like a bit of a stall right now for Glacial Academy, as they're not looking to push the turrets without some sort of advantage. The Baron will be coming up in about a minute and a half here, so they could just potentially wait to pick that Baron up. They didn't crack any of the base turrets here, so there won't be any super minions shoving waves in. So they can take a bit of time here, try and get some catches, and they've got a ton of vision on the map right now. You can see in the mini map on the bottom right here, they've got the whole map lit up, and it's great ward positioning. One on the Baron, one on the approach on the top side. These two wards here basically ensure that they should be able to see HypE Esports showing up anywhere on the bot side. They've got quite a bit of it warded up as well. And if you take a look at HypE Esports, they've lost control here of the map. They've got basically no wards outside the base. Fluff just getting the 2 down in the top side of the map, but it's going to get cleared out almost immediately. Pyre on a mission to clear the vision there. And HypE just being forced back into their base, will not likely be able to contest this Baron at all, and yet that is the one way they get back into this, really, is if they can catch the side of Glacial Academy low at Baron, caught in a really bad position, corral them into the pit and let Baron Nashor be that 6th man for them. But they don't have the vision, and so every step they're taking right now is super, super risky for them. Could get collapsed on, could get absolutely destroyed right now. They're gonna have to take this leap of faith, because Baron has been started up here. The vision now, they do get the wards, they've got a pink, and it will be cleared out, and Rink's gonna find Ronin there, getting quite a bit of damage surprisingly onto Ronin. Ronin a bit squishy, but Baron still being taken down, and King Tyrus and Pyre both tanking up. Solar Flare coming across, the bullet time, they will shut Ronin down. This is their chance, can they take it? The Horn sounds across, but Pyre gonna go down now, and Bombard Ganket starting to pop off. Mazir getting a kill, and Mazir and Bombard just shredding through right now. Bombard will get killed, but Mazir, look at him go! Can they get the kill? Tommy Peppers outputting damage, following up, cleaning up the house there, and it's going to be a 4-for-4 great fight from HypE Esports. This is exactly what they needed to do. Great bullet time, taking Ronin out of the fight immediately, and you can see how important Ronin is to Glacial Academy right now. With Ronin down, they just didn't get the fight that they wanted, could not immediately go in and just burst everybody, and 3-Pick Gamer able to output a ton of damage before he goes down, and Tommy Peppers able to survive as well, constantly just keeps throwing out those bombs, getting those Lichbane procs, getting those Luden procs as well. And only King Tyrus gonna be able to survive at the end of all of that. And surprisingly, despite the lack of healing cut on the side of HypE Esports, really only on 3-Pick Gamer there with the Mortal Reminder, Pyre is struggling to stay alive in these fights a little bit, and now he has picked up the Warmogs for himself. Will have a bit more just base health as well. Hopefully will be able to survive a bit better. And here we go. It's going to be the Ocean Drake now that both teams are looking to contest. This one's going to be a bit of a harder fight, and we see right away Fluff gets smashed using his stopwatch. I think that was not what he intended. Will not have it available for this fight, and what was already going to be a very, very difficult fight for HypE Esports has now become a Herculean undertaking for them to win this here. And once again, HypE gonna start this up. It's late enough in the game, they might be able to shred this down before Glacial Academy can get in, but can they follow up? No, they can't. Ronin getting the beautiful 5-man moonfall again. That's instantly going to be a double kill for Bombard. Ring's going to go down in the backline as well. They will pick up Bombard. That's a 2-for-1 trade. It's a worthwhile 3-for-2, and now 3-Pick and Tommy running for their lives, extremely low on health. And that's going to be Ronin and Bombard going down a 2-for-3. Unfortunately for Ronin, he just upgraded to the Magi Soul Stealer, and he's now going to lose all his stacks there, but still, beautiful 5-man moonfall once again coming out of Ronin, and he's making a huge case for himself to be MVP of this game 1 here. And that will allow Mazir to go and push that ball lane. They've cracked the outer turret here, now looking for the inhibitor, but a good double up there gonna land and gonna force them back out. Meanwhile, Period once more back to that mid lane. Gonna get quite a bit of damage down. Will not be able to quite take down the inhibitor turret yet, but we'll get it extremely, extremely low. And on the next push, Glacial Academy should have no problem taking that one there. Unfortunately, they did not get the inhibitor in the bot lane. This is going to be quite detrimental because if they had managed to take it, they would have been able to pressure that Baron, letting the supers push up that bot lane and get the damage down. Alternatively, they could just send King Tyrus to split push. He does have the teleport available right now and has the teleport advantage on Rinks. Instead, HypE Esports going to make the desperation play, going for the Baron, and they've got good timing for it because Glacial Academy just had their wards lapse here, and now Bombard potentially getting collapsed on here. Might get melted right away. The bullet time will be enough to shut down. That's 150 gold, just a small bounty, but good enough for now. And Ronin is not yet there in the fight. They're trying to take advantage of it. They see Ronin joining up now, and so they're just going to disengage. But that was a good pick onto Bombard Gankins. Half of the Assassin Execute squad going to be taken down there for themselves. So Ronin's still going to be really scary, but a little less scary, and potentially Tommy Peppers and 3pick might be able to survive these fights and continue outputting damage. Bit of a game of chicken here as HypE Esports going to start up the Baron. Rinks and Nonstop are tanky, but they can't afford to just keep taking the Baron damage like that right now. And 3pick and Tommy, unfortunately, a little too scared to go in. They don't want to get corralled and stuck in that pit. Don't want to give a free initiate for the side of Glacial Academy. But they did see them pushing the mid lane, did see the pace, and so they will be able to push this onto the Baron right now. And they're trying to shut it down, but it's too slow. The lethality build not great at taking down Baron here. Now Mazir Lane gonna walk in, but Fluff is right next to him. They get the damage down. It's gonna be him shut down right away. 3pick almost did though, looking to run away. And King Tyrus taking advantage of this. He's gonna push that turret. He's got the inhibitor. He's pushing into the base. Period trying to buy time. The sadism doing work. Look at that healing go. And 3pick not there to keep applying the healing cut. But Bombard Gankins will be able to pick up a kill. A second onto Tommy Peppers right now. Period with the Baron steal to keep his team alive and in the game. After that fight, and it looks like they will be able to get this. King Tyrus has the Baron. He's in the base. He does manage to find 3pick Gamer. And this should be the game here for Glacial Academy. Well played by them. A beautiful fight. They managed to have such a chaotic fight despite Mazir being picked up immediately by Fluff Get Smashed. Was not part of the fight. They win a 3v5 fight at Baron. Get in, steal the Baron itself. They send King Tyrus to go, and that's gonna be game. They can just rotate straight onto it. Well played by Glacial Academy from start to finish, pedal to the metal, never letting up. Great game from them. I just need to catch my breath here from the way that game ended. What an explosive ending to the game on so many levels there. The decision to send King Tyrus to split push that bot lane, knowing he had TP, actually using the TP to get there right away after using his Ornhorn in the fight at the Baron, saw Mazir getting wiped right away. Didn't think that they could win that, so he decided to go for the macro play, and Period, Ronin, and Bombard just making huge moves for themselves despite seeing their ADC go down. They managed to get the ton of damage down, and the executes from Bombard Gankins. HypE Esports going into game 2 needs to ban this Pike. Unless Leona is already considered a good counter into Pike, and they still got wiped by it. They cannot let Bombard Gankins get their hands on this Pike, and Ronin on the Diana as well. I don't necessarily think they have to ban it. It would be a worthwhile ban, but I think just changing up the matchup here on the Ziggs would be good enough, I suspect, because Ziggs struggling a little bit here to deal with the Diana, and Tommy Peppers didn't feed by any stretch of the imagination there. Went really well in lane, just struggled a little bit in trying to contain Ronin into the mid lane. Ronin able to roam out to the skirmishes, get himself some kills, and just the damage coming out of him was absolutely massive and disgusting here. So going to game 2, I'm expecting to see changes here from the side of HypE Esports in their picks and bans, and seeing how HypE has played in the past few weeks, I have no doubt that they will bounce back in game 2. So I expect to see another close game here, and hopefully not a 22,000 gold blowout in 37 minutes. Amazing play from the side of Glacial Academy. Congratulations to them. I'm very excited to see considering this is their first game. If this is the way they come into the league, I'm super excited to see how they continue to play the rest of this out. And with that, we will be heading into a short intermission break. I need to get some water in me, and I need to set up for game 2 here. So we'll see you guys all in a couple of minutes here.